A very good evening and welcome to the Chiemgau Arena in the south of Germany for round 5 of the Biathlon World Cups. We started off tonight with the women's relay. This is, of course, the venue for the World Championships last year. There'll be plenty of good memories and some pretty bad ones as well from those who failed to perform in very difficult conditions last year. Well, there's plenty to do in this part of the world. There's no doubt about that. And most of the people that live within 30 miles of Ruhpolding have turned out to support the events tonight. The officials who do such a good job throughout the weekend, this is for many, Mike, the highlight of their year.
It is, and a lot of planning and a whole lot of work has gone into keeping these tracks safe. They've had the same warm temperatures as Oberhof, up to, 9 degrees, but spectators are in safely and the conditions are very good now.
Average age of the spectators here is on the wrong side of 50. There's no doubt about that. But it's nice to see them here. Not often, Mike, we see the youngsters in the crowd. I think that's a valid point, and it would be really good to see the school kids getting the front row.
I suppose, the cost of tickets may be a bit prohibitive, and if it were in daytime, of course, the schools would be invited in anyway to watch. So maybe a good point, but I think it does allow many more spectators coming in at this time of day.
Well, we're under the floodlights again, as you can see. The range is one of the closest to the stands that we get all season, and hence the pressure when you're shooting is absolutely intense. And that almost negates the fact that you have an easy approach to this range here in Ruhpolding with a good 45 seconds of downhill and gliding without too much energy being exerted. There you see a famous face of biathlon on the right-hand side, Magdalena Neuner. Her star, in my books, rapidly going out because Miriam Gussner is the new shooting star in the German team.
It's quite amazing how that has happened. They used to share rooms together, of course. Neuner and Gussner, they're still the best of friends, and Gussner, well, she did have a bad day.
There's the world
Sunday.
#1, Tora Berger, who's had a much better season than I think many were predicting. So many saying that Domracheva was going to run away with it this season, but the Belarus has found Tora Berger and now Miriam Gussner quite tough to beat. So today's not important as far as individual World Cups go, but it is important, I think, probably mostly so for the German women to prove again that they can perform under pressure. Henkel has been very solid this season, up in the top 3 of the World Cup standings. Russia on a new wave after the Christmas break with success in the men's and success in the women's last weekend in Oberhof. There's Domracheva looking very, very calm. Klaus Siebert pretty happy with the way things have gone so far this season, but I'm sure he'd like 1 or 2 victories under his belt.
Well, I think that he would have, and Domracheva as well, would have thought that they could be winning to this stage about 4 or 5 races. They haven't been, and I think maybe it was those expectations of it being quite simple, but who could account for Tora Berger? She's had an amazing start to the season.
Well, just 5 minutes or so before the start of the women's 4x6. Welcome back to Ruhpolding. The crowd in good voice here in the Chiemgau Stadium. The air temperature at 2 degrees above. They're hoping, fingers crossed, that it drops below freezing tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be a similar story to the World Championships last year. Fischer and Neuner, 2 of the biggest names ever in German biathlon, just discussing things. Nice to hear who they think is going to take the top prize today. Obviously hoping that Germany do. Mike, there's always a little bit of competition between the Oberhof crowd and the Ruhpolding crowd. I give Oberhof credit for turning up in the worst weather conditions we've had this season. I think Ruhpolding win the choral prize.
He definitely so far, but then wouldn't that rain last weekend subdue anybody? And I think it did. Oberhof, they're normally a little bit louder and in song, but this is good. This is amazing.
Well, there you see the list of starters, 22 teams in all, which is a fantastic turnout for the women's 4x6 relay. The top teams ranked on the 2 relays that have taken place so far this year. And who would have put their money on the fact that Ukraine would be ranked #1 after 2 relays? Brilliant performances from them, a second and a first to top the table, ahead of Norway. France wearing 3 on the far side. Germany, they go with Nadine Hurschler on the first leg. They wear 4. Russia, well, the form team, they're going to be tough to beat, Russia. Glazarina, Velikina, Shamilova and Olga Zaitseva taking the last leg. Poland have a chance, but no Gwizdom competing today, which is a bit of a surprise. Belarus, Italy, Slovakia. By the time you get down to Sweden at number 10, I think you're really thinking in terms of a top 5 at best, but not likely to win it. And the Czech Republic, who have the talent but don't often produce it all on the same day.
That's true. Interesting. You mentioned Sweden. Well, there they are, ranked 10. Can you remember back just 2 years ago, they won this relay race? So it's a team that really, I think, since Wolfgang Pichler has left them, they really have dropped. And of course, big names retiring.
Well, I'm not sure it's the fact that Pichler has gone. I think it's much more, isn't it, that Helena has gone and Magdalena has gone. They've lost their big stars, and Sweden have traditionally relied on one superstar to bring them up the rankings.
They have, and Jenny Johnson as well. She's got this asthma, which they diagnosed just before Christmas.
There you see Belarus, and they're ranked 7. Domrasheva taking the last leg. I like the fact that they're bold enough to put their #1 last. The Poles with Kristina Palka, who takes leg #1, ranked 14 in the world at the moment, and alongside her, Katerina Glazarina, not much higher in the rankings at 19. And very good shot indeed. Germany with Hurschler on the first leg. If they survive this, they've got a very strong team indeed. And the French, who on paper still should be able to do something special, but it's not been going their way so far this season. Norway into Ukraine, as we've already mentioned, in 1. Where is your money tonight?
Norway, Ukraine.
So welcome to Ruhpolding, the 3rd relay of the season, and Vita Simirienko starting for Ukraine. The countdown has started. A clean start from everyone. Simirienko on the far side, looking fantastic. Really effective initial double poling strides from her, and she's got herself into a strong position. Norway dropping back with Hilda Fenn, and she just needs to fight her way into the top 3. No fight from Marie-Laure Brunet of France in the black and yellow suit. Slightly surprised by the French, Mike. Brunet is still ranked as one of the best shots, probably top 3 in terms of shooting this season, but she hasn't managed to find any spark with the skiing.
It really is surprising. Of course, last weekend in Oberhof, she did fall in the first lap around, and that cost her some 22 seconds. But no, I totally agree. She's not placing far enough up the field with her amazing shooting. And of course, Brunet hit the perfect score on Sunday in the pursuit race. She moved up from 12th all the way up into 6th, though, but the ski speed has let her down.
Let's have another look at this. You can see Simirienko on the near side, really effective. That's a great shot, isn't it, Mike? Shows how committed she is to the poles. I know both you and I coaching together, trying to persuade people to drop their body weight onto the poles, and to do that, you've got to throw the hips forward, the shoulders forward, and commit 100% onto the pole itself. And I think that's the best we've seen from Simirienko all season.
It was a brilliant start. On the left of screen, it's the American. I think it's Annelise Cook. She's oh, she got a pole in the end. She was a couple of 100 metres without a ski stick.
Well, there's a very good picture showing you why it's worth putting a lot of effort, maximum effort, into the first 20 seconds here in Ruhpolding to avoid that bottleneck going up onto the bridge.
What amazes me, 2 weeks in a row now, Selina Gasparin from Switzerland, she's gone from the 3rd row up into the 2nd place already.
Yeah, good start from her. I hope she shoots as well as she's been skiing over the last couple of weeks. So a little bit of team identification. Ukraine leading with bib number 1. Gasparin of Switzerland wearing bib 14 in the black suit. Germany, you'll know their colours, yellow and black. And they, of course, with bib number 4. That's Horschler, as we've mentioned. The Norwegians in the red with Hilda Fenn. Fenn, my first leg in Oberhof, she lost 38 seconds to the quickest. I think if she does the same again, the Norwegians will be pretty happy because they brought Flatland in instead of Van der Horn. So Flatland, of course, back from a break, didn't compete last season. I think that could strengthen the team somewhat.
I think, and especially the name Flatland, her strength is absolutely on the shooting range. Although this may be, as usual, with a new experience, or if you haven't been in a relay team for some time, the nerves do jingle. You don't just let yourself down, you let the rest of the team down if it goes wrong. And that is often in the minds of an athlete that hasn't raced for the country this season. And I think that the athlete going first for Norway, Hilda Fenn, she's only 19, she's from Voss. Her father, of course, Gisle Fenn, who raced, 14 international seasons. He was an amazing shot on the range, and so is Hilda Fenn. And, of course, Hilda Fenn winning 2 gold and 1 bronze at the Junior World Championships in Kontiolahti last year. She's a real star. There she is now, just behind Horschler. Black and orange, there's Fenn. She's very small, but very strong.
Well, I was just looking at the vital statistics of some of the athletes, as you do, noticing that many of them around the 48 to 52 kilogram mark. And when you bear in mind that the minimum the rifle can weigh is 3.5 kilos, and for most people it's closer to 4, that's a huge percentage. What is it? Between 7 and 9% of their body weight. Compare that to the men, and the rifle is maybe 4.5–5% of their body weight. It's a significant difference.
Hadn't really viewed it that way, but that is a massive... well, this race now for the women, 5 years ago it used to be 7.5 kilometre relay. Now it's a 6 kilometre relay. And I suppose the 15 kilometre, proportionally, absolutely, it's a very tough race for the women, proportionally, with the weight of that rifle. And that's maybe as well the times, the 15 kilometre time is almost reflecting the men's 20 kilometre time now as well. You mentioned earlier, Patrick, without a doubt, look at this recovery, top of the descent there, there's a tight left-hander now, and then it's flat all the way into the